Let's pray. Mighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled. Grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory and to advance peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county and of those whose interest you've committed to our church. Amen. Informed that we are short of few members to have quorum, so the Senate time ring the bell for the past 5 minutes. I am not able to spot the whip, but Majority Leader, you can assist me check if we have quorum.
Mr. Speaker, there is enough quorum.
For the day.
Third Assembly, third session. Order paper number 235 of today, Thursday, 19 September 2024 at 2:30 p.m. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I have got one communication to make. I have a request from the chair Sports Committee regarding CASA. We already received a communication on the planned date for CASA games being October 2024. So there's a request that depending on the discipline that you chose, ensure that you train. Now, in order to ensure that we have the right people for the discipline, I've been told to communicate that in the next 2 weeks, there is going to be a register for those who are doing the trainings so that only the maximum number is taken. An example is given for football where there is need for 22. But over 30 have registered for football. So based on the trainings in the next 2 weeks, 22 will be picked for football. The same applies to other disciplines like tug of war, basketball, handball, along other disciplines. So that is communication that I had to put. On the same note, there is a communication from the governor that on 27th there shall be a meeting between the county executive and the assembly. The venue is yet to be communicated, but I'm just communicating for you to strike your diary. And that on 27th, we shall have a meeting between the county assembly and the county executive. Most of the chief officers, the CC members, the county attorney, and the governor. This is a meeting that had been postponed earlier. So it's the one that has been rescheduled for 27th. Otherwise, welcome for this session. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
It is statement time. Next order.
Commencement of business. Order number 8, motion on the adoption of the report of the Appointments Committee on the suitability of Dr. Joyce Okayo for appointment to the position of CC Member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change by the Honorable Leader of Majority.
Before the Honorable Leader of Majority moves the motion, I want to bring to your attention the notice in page 276 of the order paper. In page 276, there is a notice on limitation of debate as per the resolution of the House on the Wednesday of 21st February 2024 as follows. That pursuant to the provision of Standing Orders number 95-1 of the Standing Orders, This assembly orders that each speech in a debate, a report of a committee, a sessional paper, or any other report submitted to the assembly be limited as follows: a maximum of 3 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover of the motion and 10 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking except the leader of majority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes. And the priority shall be accorded to the leader of majority party in that order. So honorable members, take note of that as we present the motion. Otherwise, the leader of majority, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move a motion for approval of the report on the suitability of Dr. Joyce Okayo for appointment to the position of CC member, Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, pursuant to the provisions of Section 35 of the County Governments Act 2012, read together with Section 6 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, His Excellency, the Governor submitted to the County Assembly the nomination of Dr. Joyce Okayo, nominee for appointment to the position of the County Executive Committee member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change for vetting and approval by the County Assembly. The nomination of Dr. Joyce Okayo was conveyed to the Speaker of the County Assembly with the letter reference CGK/CS/ADM/20/6/216 dated 28th August 2024 alongside the nominees' CVs as attached in Annex 1. Consequently, on 4th September 2024, pursuant to Section 6 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act, the leader of majority tabled the name of the nominee on the table of this Honorable House for approval and was committed to the Committee on Appointments by the Honorable Speaker in accordance with Section 6, Part 7 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017 and Standing Order Number 187 for vetting and reporting to the House within 21 days. Pursuant to Section 7, Part 4 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, the Clerk of the County Assembly placed an advertisement in the print media on 5th September 2024 notifying the nominee of the time and place of the approval hearing and invited the public to submit memoranda by way of written statements on oath on the suitability or otherwise of the nominee in accordance with the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017. Annex 2. The advertisement indicated that the submissions were to be received on or before 14th September 2024 at 4 p.m. By close of the submission deadline, the committee had not received any memoranda in regards to the suitability of the nominee for appointment. Further, in fulfillment of the provisions of Section 87 of the County Governments Act 2012, read together with Section 7(5) of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017 and Standing Order Number 187, the Clerk of the County Assembly also notified the public through the print media that the committee would conduct the approval hearing on Thursday, 12th September 2024 at 9 a.m. at the County Assembly Chambers. Annex 2. The nominee appeared before the committee as scheduled on Thursday, 12th September 2024 at 9 a.m. for approval hearing on her suitability or otherwise for appointment to the position of the County Executive Committee member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change. As per the requirements of the Constitution, the Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act 2017, the County Government Act 2012, and the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders. May I take this opportunity therefore to thank all the members of the committee for their input and valuable contributions and time during the approval hearings and deliberations during the writing of the report. The committee also takes the opportunity to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk of the County Assembly for the technical support accorded to it during the exercise. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, on 2nd September 2024 via letter reference CAK stroke EACC stroke volume 3 stroke 8 of 2024, the clerk of the county assembly wrote to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission requesting for reports with respect to the ethics and integrity, compliance and verification of the nominee, that is Annex 3. As at the date of the adoption of this report, the committee was yet to receive a response from the EACC on the ethics and integrity verification of the nominee. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, Section 35 of the County Government Act 2012 provides as follows. 1. The governor shall, when nominating members of the executive committee, 1. Ensure that to the fullest extent possible, the composition of the executive committee reflects the community and cultural diversity of the county, and 2. Take into account the principles of affirmative action as provided for in the Constitution. 2. The County Assembly shall not approve nominations for appointment to the Executive Committee that do not take into account A. Not more than 2/3 of either gender, B. Representation of minorities, marginalized groups and communities, and community and cultural diversity within the county. 3. A person may be appointed as a member of the County Executive Committee if that person, 1. Is a Kenyan citizen, is a holder of at least a first degree from a university recognized in Kenya, satisfies the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution, and has knowledge, experience, and distinguished career of not less than 5 years in the field relevant to the portfolio of the department to which the person is being appointed. For a member of the County Executive Committee shall not hold any other state or public office. Consequently, Section 7, Part 8 and 9 of the Public Appointment County Approvals Act 2017 provides that an approval hearing shall focus on a candidate's academic credentials, professional training, experience, personal integrity, and background. The criteria specified in the schedule shall be used by a committee during an approval hearing for the purposes of vetting a candidate. And Section 8 of the Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act 2017 provides that the issues for consideration by the relevant committee in relation to any nomination shall be 1. Procedure used to arrive at the nominee, 2. Any constitutional or statutory requirements relating to the office in question, and 3. The suitability of the nominee for the appointment proposed, having regard to whether the nominee's abilities, experience, qualities meet the needs of the body to which the nomination is being made. While conducting the approval hearing, the committee was therefore guided by the relevant provisions of the Constitution, Section 35 of the County Government Act 2012, Section 8 of the Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act 2017, and the provisions of the standing orders. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, the committee in determining the suitability of the nominee was further guided by the provisions on leadership and integrity as outlined under Chapter 6 of the Constitution, in particular Article 72, Part 2 of the Constitution, which provides that the guiding principles of leadership and integrity include 1. Selection on the basis of personal integrity, competence, and suitability. 2. Objectivity and impartiality in decision making and in ensuring that decisions are not influenced by nepotism, favoritism, other improper motives, or corrupt practices. 3. Selfless service based solely on the public interest, demonstrated by honesty in the execution of public duties and the declaration of any personal interest that may conflict with public duties. 4. Accountability to the public for decisions and actions. And 5. Discipline and commitment in service to the people. Article 75 of the Constitution requires a state officer, whether in public or private life, to behave in a manner that avoids conflict between personal interest and public official duties. This article further prohibits a state officer who has been removed from office under it from holding any other state office. Article 77, Part 1 of the Constitution prohibits a full-time state officer from participating in any other gainful employment. Article 77, Part 2 of the Constitution prohibits an appointed state officer from holding office in a political party. Article 78 of the Constitution disqualifies disqualifies persons who are not Kenyan citizens from appointment as state officers. Further, a state officer is barred from holding dual citizenship. In addition, the committee considered Section 10 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, in particular, which provides that a state officer shall, to the best of their ability, carry out the duties of the office efficiently and honestly, carry out the duties in a transparent and accountable manner, keep accurate records and documents relating to the function of the office, and report truthfully on all matters of the organization which they represent. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, pursuant to Section 8A of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, one of the subject areas that must be vetted by the County Assembly is the procedure that was used to arrive at the nominee. The purpose of vetting the procedure used to arrive at the nominee by the County Assembly is to ascertain whether the process used to arrive at the nominee for the position granted equal opportunity to eligible candidates. The procedure for appointment of the County Executive Committee member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change is outlined under Section 35 of the County Government Act 2012 and the Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act 2017. Section 35 of the County Government Act 2012 provides that the nomination of the CC member is a constitutional prerogative of the governor, as there is no further prescribed procedure in the constitution or statute law. Suitability of the nominee for the proposed appointment having regard to whether the nominee's abilities, experience, qualities meet the needs of the body to which the nomination is being made. The suitability of the nominee was assessed based on the function of the County Executive Committee provided for in Section 35 and Section 36 of the County Government Act 2012, vis-a-vis her academic credentials, professional training, experience, personal integrity, background and qualities, as well as her performance during the approval hearing conducted on Thursday, 12th September 2024. Having considered the above requirements and pursuant to Section 7 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, the committee, through the clerk of the County Assembly, invited submissions from the public on the suitability or otherwise of the nominee for appointment to the position of the County Executive Committee member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, pursuant to Section 7, Part 10 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2011, which provides that any person may, prior to the approval hearing and by written statement on oath, provide the clerk with evidence contesting the suitability of a candidate to hold office to which the candidate has been nominated. The clerk of the County Assembly placed an advertisement in the print media on 5th September 2024, Annex 2, inviting the public to submit memoranda by way of written statements on oath on the suitability or otherwise of the nominee in conformity with the Section 7 Part 10 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017. By close of business on Thursday, 12th September 2024 at 5 p.m., the committee had not received any submissions against the nomination and approval for appointment of Dr. Joyce Okayo for the position of CC member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change. Following the committee meeting held by the minute number 2, appointment 8 of 2024-17, the committee resolved to set its score sheet pass mark at 60% to assist the committee accurately vet the competence of the nominee. Mr. Speaker and other members, the Committee on Appointments held a sitting on Thursday, 12th September 2024 at 9 a.m. to deliberate on the approval hearing and the following were highlighted. 1. That by the deadline date and time of Thursday, 12th September 2024 at 5 p.m., the clerk of the County Assembly had not received any submissions against the nomination and approval for appointment of Dr. Joyce Okayo for the position of County Executive Committee member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change. That the nominee had not notified the clerk of the County Assembly of her withdrawal from the approval process as outlined under Section 7.12 for the Public Appointments County Assemblies Act 2017. The committee therefore resolved to undertake the approval hearing as per the schedule that had been advertised by the clerk of the County Assembly and which was communicated to the members of the public and the nominee. In conducting the approval hearing, The Committee on Appointment examined the nominee against the following criteria as set out in Section 8 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Act 2017, among others. 1. Gender. Compliance with Article 27, Part 8 of the Constitution that requires that the state to take measures to ensure that no more than 2/3 of the members of the elective or appointive bodies shall be of the same gender. 2. Nationality. To ascertain the nationality of the nominee to ensure compliance with Article 78 of the Constitution, which provides that state officers must be Kenyan citizens. 3. Educational background. 4. Employment record, honors and awards given to the nominee, membership to professional bodies, public office and political affiliations held, to ascertain whether the nominee does not hold office in a political party in compliance with Article 77, Part 2 of the Constitution that prohibits an appointed state officer from holding an office in a political party. Information on whether the nominee has been removed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution, which prohibits a state officer who has been removed from office under this article from holding any other state office. Nominee's finances, external commitments that nominee intends to undertake while in office, if appointed. And Article 77, Part 1 of the Constitution prohibits a full-time state officer from participating in any gainful employment, and tax status and net worth. Potential conflict of interest. Whether the nominee has been charged in a court of law in the past 3 years, and lastly, whether the nominee has been adversely mentioned in a report of the county assembly or a commission of inquiry in the past 3 years. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, Dr. Joyce Okayo, the nominee to the office of the County Executive Committee member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change, appeared before the committee and was vetted under oath pursuant to the Oath and Statutory Declarations Act, Cap 15, the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approvals Act 2017, and standing orders of the Kisumu County Assembly. The committee noted the following. The nominee is female born in Homa Bay County on 8th July 1965. The nominee confirmed that she is a Kenyan citizen and does not hold any other citizenship. Academic and professional qualification. The nominee has PhD in disaster management and humanitarian assistance, Masters of Science in Disaster Management and in Humanitarian Assistance, both from Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, Bachelor of Education in English Language and Literature from Kenyatta University, Diploma in Education from Sereba Teachers Training College, Kenya Advanced Certificate of Education from Uganda Girls, Certificate of Primary Education from Homa Bay Primary School, employment record, an employee of Great Lakes University of Kisumu, but not provided in the questionnaire, consultant with the International Peace Support Training Institute, professional association and membership. The nominee is a member of Association of Conflict Resolution and Disaster Management in Kenya. The nominee is a member of Kenya Red Cross Society, Kenya University's Quality Assurance Network, East African Quality Assurance Network. Sources of income received during the calendar year preceding the nomination. By 2023, the pension of 715,380. Employment income was 1,459,600. 2024 pension was 476,920. Employment income 966,400. Net worth, the nominee is approximately Kenya shillings 7 million. Published writing, culture, women, HIV and AIDS, relationship between technical hazards and fishermen vulnerability in the Lake Victoria, that is in Kenya, January 2017. Potential conflict of interest, none. Pro bono or charity work, donation to Rotary International Foundation dinner, Dorcas Women Ministry as Harmony, SDA, Church, honors and awards, none. Clearance requirement. The committee received the following up-to-date clearance certificates from relevant clearance bodies in accordance with the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. 1. Tax compliance from KRA. 2. Higher Education Loans Board compliance. 3. CRB clearance certificate, police clearance certificate, certified EACC self-declaration form. Committee observations on the suitability of the nominee. The committee, having considered the nominee's filled questionnaire pursuant to section 7.9 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, her CV, and having had her oral submissions during the approval hearing, made the following observations on her suitability for appointment as the CC member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change. That in accordance with Article 78, 1 and 2 of the Constitution, the nominee is a Kenyan citizen born in Homa Bay County and does not hold dual citizenship. That pursuant to Section 35(3)(b) of the County Government Act 2012, the nominee is a holder of a first degree of Bachelor's of Education from Kenyatta University, a recognized university in Kenya, Master of Science in Disaster Management and Humanitarian Assistance from Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, a Doctor of Philosophy in Disaster Management and Humanitarian Assistance from Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology, academic credentials, professional training and experience that comply with Section 35(3)(b) of the County Government Act 2012 and Section 8C of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017. That she meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on Leadership and Integrity, having observed that the DCI, KRA, HELB, and EACC had issued the nominee with clearance certificates. That the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the last 3 years. That as stipulated in Article 75(1) of the Constitution, the nominee has no potential conflict of interest. That the nominee satisfies the requirement of Article 77(1) of the Constitution in that she does not intend to participate in any other gainful employment. That the nominee does not hold office in any political party and hence satisfies the provisions of Article 77(2) of the Constitution. That she has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for contravention of the provisions of Article 75(1), that's conflict of interest, Article 76 financial probity, Article 77 restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78 Part 2 dual citizenship of the Constitution. That despite fulfilling the academic and professional qualifications required for appointment to the position pursuant to Section 35(3)(b) of the County Government Act 2012, the nominee did not demonstrate knowledge of topical, administrative and technical issues touching on the portfolio to which she had been nominated, and did not have the requisite abilities required for the position in accordance with the requirements of Section 35(3)(d) of the County Government Act 2012 to be approved for appointment as a CEC member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change. See as attached on answered report that the nominee was awarded a score of 51.5% by the committee panelists, being below the set pass mark of 60% as indicated in the score sheet analysis below. So we have the score sheet. I think members have the report. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, having conducted the approval hearing of Dr. Joyce Okayo pursuant to Section 4 and Section 8 of the Public Appointments County Assembly's Approval Act 2017, Section 35 of the County Governments Act 2012, and Standing Order number 187 of Kisumu County Assembly's Standing Orders, the committee recommends that this honorable house does not approve the nomination of Dr. Joyce Okayo, nominee for the position of the CEC member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change, for appointment by His Excellency the Governor. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, as I conclude, on behalf of the Committee on Appointment and pursuant to Section 35 of the County Government Act 2012, Section 9, Part 2 of the Public Appointment County Assembly's Approvals Act 2017, read together with the Standing Order number 187 of the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders, it is now my duty and privilege to present to this House the report of the Committee on the suitability of Dr. Joyce Okayo, nominee for appointment to the position of County Executive Committee Member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change for consideration, and I wish to call upon Honorable Seth Kanga, the Majority Chief Whip, to second. Thank you.
Switch off your microphone, Honorable Seth. Honorable members, now that the motion adoption of the report of Appointments Committee on the suitability of Joyce Okayo for the appointment to the position of CC Member, Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change has been moved, seconded. As per our standing orders, I want to propose a question. And I propose that the motion adoption of the report of Appointment Committee on the suitability of Dr. Joyce Okayo for appointment to the position of County Executive Committee Member, Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change is open for debate. Honorable Ruben Rakwach, East Kolwa Ward.
Hello. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance to also comment on the report that has just been read by the leader of majority. Honorable Speaker, I want to support this report that is pleading with the members not to approve the nomination of one Dr. Joyce Okayo as the CEC member for water. Honorable member, this is a house of law and order, and we swore by the Constitution of Kenya, Honorable Speaker, to defend it. Honorable Speaker, if I refer the members to Section 35 of the County Government Act 2012, if you look at Part 1, if you look at Part 2, it states, the County Assembly shall not approve nominations for appointment of the Executive Committee that do not take into account A, not more than 2/3 of either gender. In this case, if nomination of one Dr. Joyce Okayo is approved, we are still going to be within the law. B, representation of minorities, marginalized groups, and communities, we will still be within the law as per B, and then C, community and cultural diversity within the county of Kisumu. That one is also fulfilled. And then if I refer members to same Section 35, Part 3A or Part 3, it states that a person may be appointed as member of the county executive committee if that person, one, is a Kenyan citizen, and one Dr. Joyce Okayo fulfills that. B, is a holder of at least first degree from a university recognized in Kenya. She fulfills that. C, satisfies the requirement of Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya. She satisfies that. And D, has knowledge, experience, and distinguished career of not less than 5 years in the field relevant to the portfolio that she has been nominated to. And Honorable Speaker, I heard the majority leader well. He read that during the interview or the vetting, the nominee does not portray or demonstrate knowledge of topical, administrative, and technical issues touching on the portfolio to which she is being nominated to, Honorable Speaker. So for that reason, I would support that we don't, or the members do not approve a nomination. And then, honorable members, if I take you to the same section 35 of the County Government Act 2012, I'm sorry, the section 36, then it states that in addition to functions provided under Article 183 of the Constitution, a county executive committee shall, I only want to read A, supervise the administration and delivery of services in the county and all decentralized units and agencies in the county. So if at all this nominee did not demonstrate knowledge of topical, administrative, and technical issues touching on the portfolio to which she's being nominated, how will she be able to supervise the administration and delivery of services in the county and all decentralized units and agencies in the county as required by this section, Honorable Speaker? That is the reason why I support this motion, and I urge all the members to support this motion so that we don't approve the nomination of one Dr. Joyce Okayo to this position. Otherwise, thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Area. Can I time assist the Deputy Speaker?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also stand to support the report that proposes the objection of the nomination of Dr. Joyce Okayo to the position of CC, Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change. Honorable Speaker, I just want to refer members to the preamble of the report. Honorable Speaker, the nominee's appointment or nomination was communicated to the Assembly, to the Speaker, on the 28th of August. On the 4th, a Gazette notice informing the nominee to the intention to vet and the place for hearing was communicated, Mr. Speaker, in a Gazette notice. Mr. Speaker, you realize the committee has done a very extensive report. We've even shared, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the committee, I've even shared the Hansard report of the vetting and the link to the live streaming of the vetting exercise, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we can see from the word go, the nominee seemed unprepared to undertake the vetting. Mr. Speaker, the nominee says if members go through the Hansard and the link we've shared, that she was not prepared for the vetting as she had received the notification less than 24 hours before the time of the vetting, and that's why she could not even present a clearance from the EACC, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is interesting that the nominee undertook a PhD, and in her thesis, she had a case of flooding in Kano, or Lower Nyando, flooding and mitigation, Mr. Speaker. So asked if she had any strategies of addressing the challenges of climate change, especially affecting those living along the lake, like the residents of Kano, Mr. Speaker, the nominee was blank. Any mitigation processes or initiative by the government to mitigate the flooding in the same region where she did her thesis, like the construction of Korosoin Dam, Mr. Speaker, she's never heard about Korosoin Dam. Mr. Speaker, she was asked a number of questions, and in all those questions, Madam Mr. Speaker, she either said pass or just chewed her tongue and got stuck and said pass. Mr. Speaker, I know the nominee met the first bit of Section 35, that she had the credentials that met the required standard. But Mr. Speaker, that very section is also read in tandem with Section 8 that requires that technical know-how to the portfolio to which one is nominated is also very important, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, despite the fact that Dr. Joyce had some basic training on disaster management, she did not demonstrate that she is up to the task. She even said she was not prepared. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, sorry, Mr. Speaker, why I say that Dr. Joyce was not prepared and was not ready to take the position to which she was nominated to is the fact that she had an undue advantage over any other nominee that this assembly has ever vetted. Mr. Speaker, looking at the live stream, the exact questions were the same that was asked to the previous candidate who lost the nomination. And having been notified, if I were her, Mr. Speaker, then I would find out what is this position that I'm being nominated to? Was there anyone before? Did she just go or she was fired? What were the issues, Mr. Speaker? But this one seemed so blank, uninterested, and Mr. Speaker, I just want this House to give her the opportunity to go on with whatever she was doing because she did seem interested to take the position to which she was nominated to. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I support the report.
Honorable Gad Olema. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose the report that has been tabled by the majority leader. Mr. Speaker, having gone through the report, the nominee qualifies for almost all the cadres that we want in this county. I've had the Deputy Speaker contribute that the nominee didn't bring EACC certificate. It is very clear in the report that the certificate of EACC was part of the documentation that the nominee brought. The issues being raised, like what the the deputy speaker is saying that the nominee was chewing her tongue. It's not in the report. So I don't know what she's discussing. We need to discuss the report that has been brought. The chewing of the tongue or the past is not part of this documentation we have. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you that the resume of this Dr. Joyce Okayo, from what we've gone through, we've seen members being vetted in this house for various departments. When they go the other side in the executive, there's a lot of transfers and people have moved. If somebody qualifies because a CEC is a policy maker, he or she is not going to do everything by herself or himself. They're going to be supported by the technocrats in the department. And that is why we have engineers in different departments, we have technocrats in all the departments, so that they support the policies brought by the CEC. Mr. Speaker, this house vetted even the chief officers the other time. Today, all the chief officers are in different departments that we vetted them for. I've not seen anybody come here and say that so was in trade, now taken to education, and now doesn't qualify to sit there. So, Mr. Speaker, let's not do witch hunting. And Mr. Speaker, from what is going on in this Department of Water, I think there is some sectarian interest that we need not to do. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the report that we've been given, the reason as to why the nominee doesn't qualify is because of the percentage that were awarded by the panelists and nothing else. All these other things they are saying are rumors because they are not in the report. Mr. Speaker, I think if you have to move this county forward, we need to show the governor respect that he deserves. I don't think the governor we have in Kisumu County, which is one of the best in this country, can just walk on the street and pick somebody from nowhere and say, go and do my CC, if he doesn't go through his or her qualifications.
Whom do you want to inform, Honorable Nare? What is the information?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Gad, my good friend here, is saying that this house needs to respect the governor. In other words, he's saying that this house disrespects the governor for rejecting a nominee by the governor. Mr. Speaker, if all nominees were to be picked in the streets or wherever from by the governor and given jobs, Mr. Speaker, then there was no need for them to be brought here for vetting. Mr. Speaker, the County Assembly's Approval Act provides for the vetting to get what we want or who fits whichever portfolio they are nominated to. We don't just pick people from the streets, Mr. Speaker, or whoever does not merit the qualification to come and sit in a specific portfolio.
Honorable Gad.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the information of the House are not mine. I want to contribute and say, Mr. Speaker, what I was saying, that the governor, as we know the governor we are working with, I know he must have done due diligence before nominating somebody to this docket. Mr. Speaker, we don't want to shy away from saying the truth. We are going to make the department lag behind because of some sectarian interest that we don't know. The budget is being rolled out, the implementation of the project should start, and the department is leaderless. So, Mr. Speaker, if the person we are nominating today to take CC Water and Natural Resources is not capable, the governor has the authority to fire him or her at any time he or she wants.
What is it, Honorable Moses? I want to conclude. What is it? Regard of Mark.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I just want to inform Honorable Gad.
No.
The House.
What is it?
Mr. Speaker, as we speak today, the office in reference as an occupant, which has an authority from the governor, and she has run that docket for now almost 6 months effectively. So we cannot assume that that office is vacant. The office as chief officer, the office as CCM, the office as directors, it is intact. Only that we want a substantive office holder. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In other words, there is never a vacuum in a government office. Proceed, Honorable Guard.
Thank you. Thank you for that information. That is why I was coming to it. That is why I was coming to and telling this house that even the person who is there today was not vetted for the same position and is holding that position, and he has said is working there effectively. So it doesn't mean we have to qualify that person specifically for that thing. And if you don't know Soruko in, then you don't qualify to be a CC in Kisumu. Mr. Speaker, we need to allow these people to go and work, because the guy who is holding the office of CC today is also in another department and running both the departments effectively. Why can't we allow Dr. Joyce Okayo to go and be partnered with the other executive members so that they run this county for the benefit of members? I oppose.
Honorable Boyton Ratib.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to support the motion on the floor of the House. Mr. Speaker, it is very interesting to see how this process was done. And Mr. Speaker, due diligence in following the law and statutory orders were followed. Education-wise, Dr. Joyce met the threshold. Chapter 6 of the Constitution, Dr. Joyce met the threshold. But again, Mr. Speaker, the pass mark for passing the interview was raised from 50 to 60. This is a point where we need to understand. This is because, Honorable Speaker, protect me from Honorable Nerea and Honorable Nancy.
Honorable Nerea, Honorable Nancy, if you want to consult, you can consult in low tones.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The pass mark for the interview was raised to 60%. Given that if you meet the threshold that I have just mentioned, including the academic criteria, attaining 50% is not a task. But now, what do we look into? Are you up to the task? Because each and every, quite a number of Kenyans have degrees, have masters, and have PhD. That alone does not qualify them to hold certain office. And in this respect, we are talking about a CEC who is supposed to hold an office which at one given time had a member who the governor in his own wisdom realized that the CEC was not up to the task and fired her. After which, Mr. Speaker, a nominee was brought in the floor of the House. The appointment committee never saw it deemed to nominate, to approve him. And the same House did not also approve the nominee. Now, a second nominee has been brought, and the same appointment committee did see it fit for this nominee to be approved. And the appointment committee has given us enough reasons why this House should not approve the lady. Honorable Speaker, reasons have been mentioned. I don't need to repeat them. Some of them are very critical in this department. If the head of a department could not even understand the budget process of a department, how is she going to run that department? We know that there are technical staff who are supposed to be helping them. But if the head is weak, there's going to be a possibility of being manipulated by the staff. So we need a steadfast, we need an astute CEC in this position. Honorable Speaker, I need this to go very clear to honorable members and our beloved governor. We are not here to witch hunt anybody. In fact, as an oversight authority, I may call ourselves the third eye of the governor. Because where the governor sits, he may not know each and every individual who is being brought to the assembly for approval. But I know he has some little knowledge or information about this nominee. So it is upon this house to do the process that we call vetting. Actually, to tell the governor that the nominee does not meet the threshold. We are not doing anything wrong, but we are helping the governor to appoint the correct person in this position. And I believe the governor is watching. We are here to help the governor. And that is why we are not supporting nomination of this Dr. Joyce. And the governor, we are giving you a free blanket. Start canvassing, start sourcing, start scouting for a better person who will not be disapproved by this house. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, let me consider agenda and give Honorable Mickey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support, to oppose this report. Mr. Speaker, it's almost laughable when, as an assembly, we stand here and rubbish someone's achievements. And it's almost laughable when we want to argue semantics in this house, Mr. Speaker. When a member of this distinguished house rise up and say that someone's education is basic, I feel that is laughable. I also feel it's laughable when a member of this distinguished house stand up and say that a nominee that was brought to this house for approval is being said, is being mentioned or referred to as that one. Mr. Speaker, the reason why I oppose this report is this. This lady, Dr. Joyce Okayo, Mr. Speaker, has all the qualifications as was read by the majority leader. And that is, I think, as he read it, as he was reading it, it was almost at up to 40%. It's sad when we want to disapprove this nomination based on some general knowledge or general or basic knowledge that anyone in this house would at any point find themselves in the same situation. Mr. Speaker, everyone can learn. Most of the questions that were asked, anyone can learn, especially on the job. Most of us came here when we did not know anything. We could not even stand in this house, Mr. Speaker. And for someone to be, judged based on that, I think for us we are not doing ourselves justice. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that there are things sometimes when in a space of tension, you can find yourself temporarily indisposed to be able to answer. So I want us to look at this matter more than the interview that than Dr. Joyce Okayo was given. Another reason why I'd like to oppose this report, Mr. Speaker, some people examine well. Some people examine well. Mr. Speaker, kindly protect me. Honorable Nerea is doing that. Another thing, Mr. Speaker, the executive only have 3 CCM that are ladies. This county, Mr. Speaker, that the 2, 3. But I feel it would do this great county a great deal if we could have another lady as a CCM. And I'm not saying this because I'm a lady. I'm saying this because gender parity is a big issue. So it's important for us to have also different genders representing. So as a woman and as someone I know for sure gets tension when I'm in a position like that, I'd like to support this, Mr. Speaker.
I want to inform the House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as a House, we cannot rubber stamp anybody who does not meet the threshold to a portfolio to which she is nominated because she is a woman. I'm saying that this rejection does not bar the governor from nominating another woman to fill in that position. So 2 wrongs don't make a right, Mr. Speaker. We are not approving anybody just because they are women, but they are not going to perform.
You know, I wanted to rule you out of whether you are the deputy speaker, but I've not had the information. It's like you are sneaking back to debate. I had given you a time to debate. Switch off your microphone. Honorable Mickey, can you conclude?
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I would not wish to continue this debate. I think my point has been given. But if just to add a little, for a house that most people think we do not qualify to be here, and it's sad. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I oppose.
Madam Speaker, is it right for the
Honorable Mickey, switch off your microphone. What is the point of order?
Honorable Speaker, is it right for Honorable Speaker to accuse members of this House that we think that it's not right for them to be here, while no one has ever mentioned the same in this House? And if it's not, Honorable Speaker, I think it's just honorable for her to withdraw, because we really respect. It's going onto the Hansard that in this House we don't respect women and we don't recognize their presence in this House. I don't think anybody has that belief in this House. Honorable Speaker, allow her to withdraw, because we do respect the leadership of women in this House, and that's why we have a deputy speaker who is a woman and several chairs who are women.
Honorable Mickey, I even stood down Honorable Samuel Nyango to give you chance, and I did say because of gender, let me give Honorable Mickey first. So please, if you mention something like that, I think it's just better to withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I don't think it's right for you to put words in my mouth. I did not say that we disrespect women. I say it would look wrong for us to be seen as. And another thing, Mr. Speaker, I do not think I mentioned that this House does not, I did not. So for you to say that, you probably had your own things. I did not say that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
What is it, Honorable Sami? So I want to debate. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose this report, Mr. Speaker. Number one, I'm surprised by my fellow members saying that they are the third eye of the governor. The same third eye of the governor cannot tell the governor that their roads in Kisumu County are impassable and they are going home. They are the third eye of the governor, Mr. Speaker, because they have a sinister motive to reject this nominee. If we are honest, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, protect me from Honorable.
What is it, Honorable Raya? What, Honorable, you were being mentioned. Why are you? But I'm seeing Honorable Raya is here, and
she seems to be so bitter. I don't know what is wrong with her. She's very bitter.
Order, Honorable Raya.
I stand on order number 89, Mr. Speaker.
What is the order?
I need Honorable Sami to just clarify, because he mentions that those supporting the rejection of Dr. Joyce have a known motive, sinister motive. So can he just clarify the sinister motive that he knows that the members rejecting Dr. Joyce's nomination have, Mr. Speaker?
Honorable Sami.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I really respect Deputy Speaker, and I don't want to expose her.
I'm ready to be exposed, Mr. Speaker. I'm ready. If you have anything to expose, Mr. Speaker, I want you to expose it right now, Mr. Speaker. The county is watching, the nation is watching, the world is watching. I want Honorable Sami to do his worst and expose whatever he thinks he knows, and I will tell what I know about them.
Honorable Mayor, I had given Honorable Sami to Honorable Sami.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even from the way she's bitter, it tells it all. So I don't want to go there.
No, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mayor.
No, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mayor.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mayor.
Receive your seat, Honorable Sami. Honorable members, I want us, we have an agenda to proceed with. I want us to be on the report as we debate, and I want us to give our colleagues time to debate. Every person has an opportunity. So, Honorable Nerea, Honorable God, Honorable Nerea, I am making some comments on what has transpired. It is right for any member to stand on a point of order. And if Honorable Nerea has asked Honorable Sami to point out something, I'd given a time. So you allow the Honorable member to complete. If you are not satisfied, you still have time, you can stand. And we give an opportunity to the Honorable member to make clarification. But I feel like we want to take much of our time on side shows. It's okay. There are members who will agree with the report. There are members who will not agree with the report. That is the essence of debating. There is no way we expect everybody to agree with what comes to the House. There are those who must agree with it. There are those who must oppose. But it's the responsibilities of the owners of the motion to convince the other members to agree with it. But if there is any interest, the standing order provides, I think it's standing order number 88. Standing order number 88 is declaration of interest. And I read, a member who wishes to speak on any matter in which the member has a personal interest shall first declare the interest. Personal interests include pecuniary interest, proprietary interest, personal relationships, and business relationships. When I say proprietary interest, you know what I mean. So it's just important that you declare your interest, that I have some interest instead of side shows. So, Dr. Sami, can you still have some 2 more minutes? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. for protecting me, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, I was saying that I'm disturbed by our fellow members. And as I said earlier, that if indeed we are the third eye of the governor, then I think let us get serious, Mr. Speaker, because we cannot be third eye of the governor, one side, and the other side we are fifth eye. When it comes to other matters, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the reason why I'm surprised, the person that we rejected last, the committee had the same recommendation and the same marks. So it seems to me like they just sit somewhere, they just copy-paste the same report that they did last time for the last nominee, they bring to this House. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, we are all aware that the role of MCA are 3. One is legislation, representation, and oversight. Mr. Speaker, when I was vying, I did not attend any school where those things are being learned. We only learn them here. And now, someone who has tried her best or his best to get a PhD, we are dismissing as if she or he is a nobody. Mr. Speaker, it is good to respect someone's character, regardless whose interests you are serving. Mr. Speaker, so on that note, I would want to urge our members, if it's a matter of oversight, if we can oversight the way we are doing this to oversight to appointing committee, if we can move that way, then we can take Kisumu to the right direction. But if it is just here because we have a motive, ill motive against someone, then we are doomed to fail. I oppose and I reject in totality.
Honorable Benny Pete.
I thought the lady was going.
You are a more senior member, Honorable Benny Pete. But you are senior. Seniority comes first.
Mr. Speaker, I also want to contribute on this report, Mr. Speaker, by giving some references. I want to give the first reference, Mr. Speaker. When the cabinet was being vetted at the National Assembly, a minister for tourism was rejected by the committee. But the House found it fit to pass her. That was Malonza. And when she entered the office, the work was marvelous, Mr. Speaker. The committee can make its decision. Then when the matter comes to plenary, let us also play our role, considering the factors that matter, the parameters that we should look into, Mr. Speaker. The case of Dr. Joyce Okayo, I will refer to that one of Malonza. And I plead with this House to consider her for approval so that she gets this job. There's the gender balance. That one has been explained. Mr. Speaker, when people go for interview, they may be nervous at times. The interview may give the impression that a well-learned person like Dr. Joyce Okayo may not make it in office. But we have found people who have gone to school, they are good profession. When they get very little marks in the interview, when they get a chance to go to the office, they perform. There are interview questions which at times will put the candidate offside. And you know also, at the interview panel, the facial expression, the other factors at the interview panel considers may also knock one out, Mr. Speaker. Like when a candidate fails because of floods in Kabonyo Kanyagwal. Someone who has never gone to Kabonyo Kanyagwal, he doesn't know where Kabonyo Kanyagwal is, and then you fail him because he cannot answer the flood problem in Kabonyo Kanyagwal adequately. Is he a failure? Someone who has gone to school at that level, and with that profession he has, is not a failure. When he's in the office, she will have her technical people to guide her on the flood problems in Kabonyo Kanyagwal. And these are facts which we must accept. The matter of Korusoin, even among us here, who knows the proper history of Korusoin? And when you want to fail one in an interview because of Korusoin, a big matter for people of Kano, which they are crying, that there are the right people who should discuss it. Then you pin down a teacher, a professional teacher, who has jumped to matters of climate mitigation who, when given a chance, in consultation with his technical staff, work will just be done. Mr. Speaker, the committee raised the topical issues, the technical part of it, and the nominee was not abreast with them. That may sound right. But the topical matters that are brought in interview, if they were to be the final yardstick, Mr. Speaker, then someone who has served in the Ministry of Water will not be moved to any other ministry if you were to consider the topical issues and the technical one. Because at the level of chief officer, at the level of the minister, these are people who are regarded to have good education, good profession. When taken to the office, they will easily find how to work in these offices. And that is the importance of education background and professional background. So I plead with this House to pass one, Dr. Joyce Okayo, to serve this government of Kisumu. Mr. Speaker, for this name to have reached the Kisumu County Assembly, there is some due diligence that had been done at a standpoint, and that is the point of the governor, for that name to have reached this assembly. And some of us may not have been impressed. That is normal. But the general picture, she has good education background, good professional background, and she had impressed some personalities in this county. If that was not the case, she would not have reached here. And another one, when I was looking at her profile, Mr. Speaker, this is an officer who was a teacher at Kisumu Day, was a teacher at Kisumu Boys, and other places. And I will give the example of how efficient Mr. John Awiti was a teacher, is now at the cabinet. How efficient Mr. John Awiti is. These are the teachers, and one thing we should know, teachers are multi-purpose. They can be taken to any office for administration. That's also one thing we should not lose sight of. So when Joyce Okayo is given a chance, she will prove her worth. And Kisumu County will be proud of her job. But let me say this. I have no vested interest on this matter. I'm talking as Peter Eko. I have no vested interest. I'm talking as Peter Eko. And what I've learned, Mr. Speaker, which I also need to declare, you have heard me mentioning Kisumu Boys. That is what I will say with her, but nothing more. She was now my boss when she was there. So I plead with the House to pass her. And you know, teachers from Kisumu Boys are the ones who are promoted to become deputy principals and principals. And they have proved their worth wherever they were posted to. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I thank the House for their rejection of the report to get Dr. Joyce Okayo approved.
Honorable Maurice Geta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I write to support the report, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I happened to watch the live interview of Dr. Joyce Okayo, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, a lot has been said. And you can have all the requirements, but you cannot be able to articulate and perform the office you are being vetted for, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the lady testified, Mr. Speaker. I happened later to be at the launch. testified that she was ambushed for the interview, Mr. Speaker. It means the period which was given to this Dr. Joyce Okayo, Mr. Speaker, was not enough for her to get prepared for the job, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the lady said, I was ambushed. I woke up very early in the morning to rush to the airport to come for the interview, Mr. Speaker. If you see somebody is not ready to wake up at the right time to do his or her activity, that's not a serious human being, Mr. Speaker. However, Mr. Speaker, there is no perfect human being, Mr. Speaker. You know we have weaknesses, but you have to show some seriousness to what you want to do. You want the duty you're gonna carry, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we cannot just have push and pull, sides around. Mr. Speaker, we need to be honest sometime. This lady was not paid for this office. So I submit. Thank you.
I wanted to give Honorable Millie, but I've seen the Deputy Leader of Majority is on his feet. So I'm seeing he's gone down. So Honorable Millie Sendamuya.
Fine, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm also standing to add my voice on the debate going on. First, I want to say this. When I'm going through the report, it's evident that Joyce is qualified because she's a holder of a PhD. And that one shows that she's qualified and qualified. And she has a background of areas that she has been working. I'm happy that Honorable Ngeta is confirming something. He's saying that when they met at the launch, the lady complained. We know in this world that at times you will have a very bad day. You are the same candidate who wants to rush for some grilling. Maybe your mother is very sick and you are in a position that you must go and defend yourself. For sure, if it were even you, definitely it will disorganize your day. I want to appeal to my sisters who are honorable members. Please stand up and let us stop laughing when a woman like us is being crucified. Let us stand and support women when women are able to get positions. And to our male honorable members, apart from being honorable members, when we go out, you could be my son, and you could also be our husbands. Please, let us not kill the career of this lady or demean her. She is a mother, she is a wife, and most likely she could be a grandmother because everybody is watching this. Suppose it will come out that she is incompetent. What next after that? We shall have killed her. I am strongly opposing the recommendations of the committee. Let us give this lady an opportunity to serve. If she will not be in a position to do her or what the governor wants, the governor can still chase her, and appoint another person. Thank you.
The Honorable Deputy Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sitting here and listening to the contribution of fellow members, I do agree that really we have a honorable house. However, I've noticed that the constitution or the order that provides for vetting is not being considered and ventilated upon as should be the case. I've heard people, some of our members, talking about education. Yes, education is there, but it is not the only determinant factor to determine whether one qualifies to be a CCM or not. For those who have been members or who are members of the appointment committee, there is questionnaires and there are also marks attached to those questionnaires. Education is only 30%. And if the pass mark is 40 or 60%, and one fails to reach the required marks, then it becomes very difficult to approve such a candidate. Mr. Speaker, there are so many requirements for one to qualify or for one to be approved. One single item or can make one be disapproved. For example, if one does not show certificate of good conduct to the interviewers and you pass him and the next day you hear that he has a criminal record, what do you think will be thought of this house? It will be a clear indication that maybe the house was compromised. A simple requirement of clearance from ACC can make one be disqualified or be disapproved in this house. Fellow members, let us be very, very liberal and honest to ourselves. Mr. Speaker, the committee that was charged with the vetting of this candidate has previously vetted quite a number of CCMs in this county. There are only 2 occasions or 3 that they have disapproved the appointment of members. When they did this, they were very, very good members and committee. But for 1 or 2 that now is being disapproved, some see sinister move, which is not the case. There is nothing sinister in this lady's disapproval. It is simply that she has not met the required standards. Mr. Speaker, I had a member saying that the CCM can work in any department. It is true, but when one is brought to this house, is brought to be vetted for a specific docket, and we are not sure and we are not aware and we do not know whether the governor will do a reshuffle or not. But then we also consider that if he cannot serve in this particular department or this particular ministry, then that means, and we consider that he is incapable of serving in any other department. He is incapable of being a CCM, not only CCM for water.
Sammy, whom do you want to inform? The House. What is the information? Drop your microphone, Honorable Deputy Leader of Majority.
I want to inform the House that there are some previous CC that were approved without degrees and they graduated later.
Honorable Sami, can you mention the CC members that were approved without CC? Honorable Lumba, resume your seat. Honorable Sami, I think there is that matter you raised it sometimes back and I let it go. So can you proceed? You are unanswered. Can you mention the names of the CC members who were approved without degree?
Mr. Speaker, it's also in the Hansard. So you can check.
Honorable Sami, for the last time, I'm giving you an opportunity to mention the names of any CC members who have been passing this out without a degree, or you withdraw and apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will withdraw once you finish me with the answered report.
Sami, this is not a request. Kindly withdraw and apologize because you are giving a bad image to this house. Or mention the names of the CC members who have been passed in this house without meeting the requirements of section 35, 3B.
Mr. Speaker, no, we are house of rubber stamping, so I withdraw.
Is it a representative?
Point of information, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I concur with Honorable Sami. Because, Mr. Speaker, if you look at section 35, part 3, it is optional. Because it says may. May is optional. We can decide to pass a member of a member of the county executive committee even without a degree. It is optional. Because if you look at 35 part 1, it says shall. Part 2, it says shall. Then part 3, it says may. The House can decide even appoint Aduinyang today as a CC without a degree. So it's the authority of the House to decide because it says may. So I concur with Honorable Sami because it says may. I don't know, but it says may. So Sami, you are just right, but it's the authority of the House to determine whether to pass a member of a county executive with a bachelor degree or not with a bachelor degree. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Lumumba, I directed Honorable Sami to withdraw. He had withdrawn, and I want to give Honorable Lumumba. But let us appraise ourselves to the County Assembly Approval Act, the County Government Act, and any other relevant statute. Honorable Lumumba, you still have 2 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, much as my brother Sami is bringing the issue of education, the education is not a contentious issue in this case because I've not heard where it is said that he's been disqualified because he has less education or he did not do this and that. I said here in the beginning that education is not the only determinant factor to approve a candidate. So I want to inform my brother that let that be put to rest. And my seniors also confirmed that degree or no degree is not a very important matter as far as the Constitution is concerned. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I implore upon members that whenever we come for vetting, have trust and faith in the committee members. For example, our committee of appointment. It is for this reason that we do not all belong to one committee because of that trust. When a member or when committee brings up a report of this nature, let us poke holes if necessary with facts, but not with our stomach. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support. Thank you.
The Honorable Whip, Honorable Warindo, I've seen you, but you know when the Honorable Whip has also have no otherwise.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I had reserved my right to debate over this matter because I wanted to see the width and the breadth of the debate in this House and to this matter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am a member of the appointment committee, and I was there from the commencement of the interview to the last end
Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I want to declare that Dr. Joyce Okayo taught in my former school, that is Kisumu Day, but she never taught me. That's my interest. Mr. Speaker, first of all, as the whip of the government, or the whip of the majority side of this government, I am disappointed. Because this is the second time we as an assembly, or we as the appointment committee, we had interviewed some gentleman on the position before, and ultimately was rejected by this honorable house based on some reasons which were valid. And Mr. Speaker, we interviewed the second person, that is Dr. Joyce Okayo, whose name was submitted by the governor to this position. And to my dismay, Mr. Speaker, we are not writing that report just because we are against her, that she is of the opposite gender, but based on public facts. Because, Mr. Speaker, the nominee was interviewed under the glare of the cameras. It was on Facebook and everything. And I think, Mr. Speaker, the committee clerk even posted the video clips of how the lady was vetted and how she responded to various questions or remarks which were posted at her. Madam Speaker, I was very, very much disappointed. Mr. Speaker, I was very, very much disappointed. Because, Mr. Speaker, the Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o I know cannot nominate two persons on the same position who are not up to the task. Somebody somewhere, Mr. Speaker, must be misadvising the governor. And I plead with the county government through the governor, Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, even to go further and nominate one of these honorable members to this account, to the position of the CC. We have Madam Achimbo, who has got enough experience to serve as a CC of water, together with the ladies in this, the honorable ladies in this house. Because, Mr. Speaker, we can go further and interview Madam Achimbo, and if she qualifies, it's when she resigns. If she doesn't qualify, she does resign. It was replicated in the National Assembly, where Wakina Wandai were appointed body. After being appointed and approved, it's when you go and resign. And in fact, you proceed to the National Assembly to make your final remarks before you exit the House. I think that one should be replicated in this county. Even if you can appoint Madam Nerea as a CC, there's no harm, because she understands these things, rather than bringing people who does not even understand. Mr. Speaker, you as the chairman of this committee took us through some very elementary aspects of the interview proceedings, where you asked the lady if she has ever stayed in the Kisumu for the last 5 years. And the lady did indicate that for the last 12 years, she had never been in Kisumu. Those clips are there in the video clips. When you took her to even mention wards in Kisumu, the lady could not differentiate between a ward and a sub-county. Even mentioning only 3 wards in Kisumu was an uphill task for the... In fact, she said that Obunga is a ward, Nyaweta is a ward, and even Katito is a ward. So I was wondering, as the whip of the county assembly, is this the real person who was appointed by Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o? Or we are interviewing a different person? I was very astonished. In fact, I pitied her because she taught in my former school. That is Kisumu Day. And she taught in Oikopete School, Kisumu Boys, where Oikopete was a basa. I don't know, accountant or a basa, where he embezzled a lot of funds and eventually became a member of the county assembly, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, let Young know.
Honorable Iko. Honorable Iko. Honorable Debate. You know how people debate. You cannot just stand up and start debating.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
But you have to call upon the speaker whether you are
Yes, Speaker. We have reached that level. Let Young know I was a student of Kisumu.
Order, Honorable Bailey. Are you on a point of order or you are debating?
On a point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order?
To inform Mr. Nyang that...
Who is Mr. Nyang, Honorable Bailey?
Adui Nyang, he had declared that is now his official name. And at this level, he does not want Setu Ching. He wants Adui Nyang.
Order, we are in the house, Honorable Benny Peter, and you are unanswered. I've given you what is the point of order?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. To inform Mr. Seth Kanga, I was a student of Kisumu Boys, and because of my good conduct, that is why I was allowed to handle the finances. Otherwise, I could not have been allowed. You imagine, from Kisumu Day, you become a transport manager.
Honorable Benny Pete, I have not heard Honorable Seth Kanga disputing you becoming a basa. Honorable Seth Kanga.
Mr. Speaker, you know, I and Oikopete, we are good friends and we like teaching each other. So that's our nature, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to proceed this way, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this assembly has done its work, especially the appointment committee. Now it's upon the House to decide. And I read to you Section 35, which I think was brought by Honorable Rakwach, my brother. But if you look at Part 3, which talks about experience and knowledge about a holder of a university degree and all the rest, even including Chapter 6, it is optional. It says may. Because Chapter 6 is tied to the laws of this country. Unless you are tried in court and be convicted, that's where Chapter 6 vilifies you. But you cannot say that somebody has not qualified under Chapter 6. Yes, yet he has never been tried in court. So issues to do with Chapter 6, leadership and integrity, those are things which are optional. And I believe that's why we are in this house. If they were to do with shall, some of these honorable members whom I'm seeing in this house could not have received the certificate of good conduct, including Gad Olema, who was a pharmacist and dispensed Benylin on people who does not necessarily receive Benylin. Mr. Speaker, in fact, Gad Olema once confided to me that he used to sell Benylin because when you drink a lot of Benylin, you get high rather than buying beer to just a 500 milliliter Benylin. You are drunk already, so you go sleep. So if we are tied to issues to do with Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity, then I believe most of the leaders in Kenya, including the head of state who was tried in Hague, and today is the president. So when you talk about Chapter 6, you have to think wider. Am I so clean? That's why Section 35 of the County Government Act says may. It is optional. And the Speaker, so there's no law stopping us. If we find somebody has got enough experience to work as a CEC, including Engineer Nyaoke, who understands a lot of things to do with roads, why don't we appoint as a CEC of roads, including my brother Unditi, who understands issues to do with with Southern Sudan. Then the project planning and management. We can appoint him. Ngeta, who understands water, has done a lot of issues with the water. We can appoint him as a CEC. Even my friend Honorable Lima, who understands pharmacy, we can appoint him as a CEC. So when you leave this house and go there as a CEC, I think you understand it more than somebody who is new, who comes from house, because you have done oversight, you have done appropriation, you have done budgeting, you know what CFSP is, you know what the annual development plan is, you know everything, including the CIDP. So when you leave this house to go to become a CEC, I think we are more qualified. But otherwise, Mr. Speaker, something must be done. And as assembly, as leadership of this house, together with the majority leader, his deputy, I as the whip, including your office as a speaker, as the custodians of oversight in this county, we need to talk to the governor so that we don't find ourselves in such an embarrassment next time. Because rejecting 2 CECs for the same department in a row, in a time not exceeding 6 months, I think something is wrong somewhere. So as leadership, as sober members, as members of the Orange Democratic Party, we believe in social democracy, we believe in gender equality, marginalized groups, and I believe the 2010 Constitution is a product of the Orange Democratic Party under the stewardship of our party leader, none other than Raila Amolo Odinga. So when we go around as a county, and architect of devolution is none other than Professor Peter Nyang'. So we cannot bury our heads in the sand and not say that something is not wrong somewhere. As an assembly, as a county government, we need to sit down and do a thorough introspection so that we help the governor in these 3 remaining years. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, those are my submissions. Thank you, and thank you very much.
Before I give another member, before I forget, you know, there are development in terms of laws as things proceed. There is something that's been discussed here, may, shall. And I've just recalled that I need to bring it to your attention. Initially, when you talk of shall, it's a must, depending on which person you're talking about. First person, second person, third person. Looking at that, for those who know English, like Honorable Chele and teachers like Honorable Warindu. Currently, if there is a shall along any provision that is statutory, like in this case, we are talking about the office of the CC member, which is a statutory office. If you see may, it's interpreted as shall. That is the provision as at now. If you are referring to anything statutory, whether you see a may or a shall, all of them are interpreted as shall. I just felt that I give that information so that as we proceed, we are able to differentiate where the may or the shall is used. Like in this case, if you talk of 35(3)(b), which members have referred to, the may comes and is referring to a statutory office. So it is interpreted as something that is a must, that is shall. Otherwise, I had noticed Honorable Seth.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to rise to support the report by the Committee on Appointment. Honorable Speaker, my lecturer once taught me that a good student knows something about everything and everything about something. Honorable Speaker, the procedure in which the nominee reached the assembly
was good. But our role as an assembly is to vet. And I don't understand why the whip is regretting, because our work is to vet and make sure that this county get the best, even if it means turning down 20 CCs in one department, but we want one that can provide the best services to the people of Kisumu County. Honorable Speaker, in relation to what I said about a good student, knowing something about everything, I have gone through the questions that were asked to the nominee. One of the questions that was asked to the nominee was, have you ever heard about FLOCA? In which the nominee responded in affirmative and said yes. And then she was asked, what is FLOCA? And in her response, if these members are really reading the reports without being influenced, they would know that this is not a good student. Madam Speaker, Honorable Speaker, the nominee, as has been mentioned, has a PhD. And I'm reading what she did a thesis on. And in her thesis, she did something on impact of floods on attainment on education for all and Vision 2030 in Nyando Basin, Kisumu County. That was the thesis of the said nominee that we vetted as an assembly. I don't know where the impacts of floods are in this Kisumu County if you can't know about Kabonyoka Nyagwal. She was asked about Kabonyoka Nyagwal and how, what causes floods, the perennial floods in Kabonyoka Nyagwal, and she mentioned that the people living there are the cause of floods. She was asked to explain how. I don't know if our honorable members are really reading how this lady was responding to these questions. This is a question about something she needs to know everything about. Something that she got her PhD on. She could not answer. She doesn't even know the place. And the honorable member from Kabonyoka Nyagwal is justifying that she didn't need to know. But she did her PhD. She needs to know everything about floods, especially Kabonyoka Nyagwal. Honorable members, mentioning that she's a woman. We have vetted women here. We have passed women. They are working as CECs. But I don't think we need to pass mediocrity in the name of gender. We have very able women outside there. Some are in this assembly.
Point of information.
Very able women.
Burakwach, whom do you want to inform?
I want to inform my big brother, Honorable Seth.
Honorable Seth, do you want to be informed by Honorable Burakwach?
Yes, I want to inform Seth that when she was asked about cage farming in Lake Victoria, she said she will abolish cage farming. Thank you.
Honorable Seth.
Honorable members, that is the kind of person that you want to provide services to the people of Kisumu County. I know you have your interests, but the interest of the people that brought us to this house should come first. Somebody who intends to abolish cage farming. Somebody who doesn't know that Kabonyoka Nyagwal has floods, yet she did a PhD on floods. Somebody who's going to see FLOCA, that is doing a project, but doesn't even know what FLOCA stands for. How long will it take this person to start delivering? Honorable members, let's be real. Let's see the problems that our people are serving. Let's find time and reflect on ourselves and give people the person who can provide services to them the best. Honorable member, I don't want to give any more on that. I want to implore on you that the governor has all the rights to give us another person. Please, if he gives us another bad person who cannot provide services to the people of Kisumu, we have all the rights at an assembly to vet that person and reject the same person. So let's not be swayed by emotions. Let's not be swayed by gender. Let's not be swayed by bread in passing somebody who will not bring services to the people of Kisumu County. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Point of order, Honorable Beni Pete Oiko.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Seth is referring that members should not be influenced by bread. What does he mean by that?
Honorable Oiko.
Yes.
I thought it's wheat, and Honorable Seth is asking what bread is. Honorable Member, can you clarify?
Bread, there are two types of bread, unleavened bread and leavened bread. They are all wheat products. One, you have to like use fungi, then you like, you know the process. Yeah, and the other one you don't. So, you know what bread is. You're just giving me.
Honorable Daria stood for some time. Let me give you the Honorable Warindu, then Honorable Onditi.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've realized one thing since I came into this assembly, and it is for all of us to know it. School was brought because people to learn, and it was brought for us to know one or two things. First of all, I would like to say this. Let us give this madam opportunity to go and work. Those other things that she doesn't know, let her know them, learn them from there. Then number two, I've gone through the questions that were asked. For example, if you go to page 23, you will find that the nominee was being asked who was the principal in Kisumu Day when you worked in Kisumu Day. So my question is, how does that one relate with this Department of Environment? And another question goes, who took over from Moenga, Motanya? And these are the very, very people who are telling us to reject.
On a point of information, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Seth.
I want to inform the Honorable brother.
Because of time, I'm not interested.
Proceed.
You see, there are some questions, even us when we leave this house, we are going to ask ourselves conundrum questions. Conundrum questions, those are questions which has no answer. By rejecting this lady, we are going to ask ourselves so many questions, which we will not have an answer to it. And again, Mr. Speaker, a nominee came here, of which I'm very sure that even not members, any other person outside, even in the department, doesn't know the meaning of locker. Now she's being disqualified because she was not able to give the full meaning of locker. Does it make sense, really? Mr. Speaker, I think the executive, they made a sagacious decision to bring, to nominate Dr. Joyce, the governor. I think before she was brought here, the executive or the panel within the executive, they sat down and they agreed that this is the right person that we should take to the assembly for vetting. But everything that I've gone through here, this one does not warrant, it does not warrant us to reject this lady. Let us give her time to go and work. I can remember even in the same department, we had a very wise lady. When you visited her in her office, she will talk a lot of English. At the end of the day, she failed. So this other one whom we are thinking that cannot make it, let us give her opportunity to go there and work. She will perform. So another thing that I want to add on that, when we came here, by that time I was not able to come to the assembly during the vetting. I can remember there was a nominee here who was not even able to tell the committee, even where she was coming, the name of the nominee, ward, her ward. And she was given opportunity, and she's working, she's performing. What is the difference? As much as Dr. Joyce, she was not able to even to pronounce a single word. Kisumu County. So, Mr. Speaker, let us give her opportunity. She will perform. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, Honorable Nditi. Honorable Warindu, proceed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Having gone through the report, coupled with the Hansard report that has been sent in our wall, and the video recording from the start, let me start by urging the members of this House not to make their decisions and judgment selectively. If you go through all the reports that have been given, I'm persuaded to support the report that has been given by the appointment committee. We are dwelling so much on the academic qualification, and I want to tell the House that having the requisite academic qualification, that is why the Daktari reached this House for vetting, and there was some other elements that was to be determined from the vetting exercise. Having all the academic requirements does not qualify somebody to be a performer. And by then, Mr. Speaker, if you have all the academic requirements, you need to demonstrate and prove and show to the world that you own and you merit the academic certificates that you are having. And how I wish, I've gone through the questions, and how I wish that one of the committee members who would have asked the nominee what the roles and functions of the CC member is. And I want to be very sure the answers that could have been given will have been just the same as the answers that were given in the report. One of the main issues in the water department is flocker. And if you can be asked about the flocker and you give a reply that you know what flocker is, then when you are told to give it fully, you say that flocker is fully funded climate change initiative. And I want to believe that if you are really interested in the job, having been nominated by the governor, Dr. Joyce would have taken her time to go all through the issues that are related to the water department. And I want to believe if she could have done that, she could have not missed on flocker in full. And there are so many people with the academic qualifications that you want to bring to us here to prove the lady. But if you cannot prove, if you cannot demonstrate to the county and to the world that you are up to the task, then there is no need of giving this person this job. We still have so many people who are still interested in this job, who can demonstrate and show to us and show to the world that they are really interested in this job. Someone said that let us not kill the career of this lady. And I will agree with that.
let us not give her this job so that she doesn't leave the one that she's doing right now. Because if we give her this one, I'm 100% sure that she might fail and their career will be killed. Again, somebody said that Malonza was also rejected by the committee and she was given the chance to perform. If indeed Malonza's work was marvelous, as being said, why didn't she get the second chance? We don't have time to prove. We don't have time to give people to learn in that department. We only have 3 years and we need our work to be done. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, with all my humble submission, I support the report that was given by the appointment committee. Thank you so much.
Proceed, Honorable Nditi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today's debate is one of the most interesting debates in this House because the House is divided between embarrassing the governor and discussing the content of the report. Because the argument that have been raised here against is that we are going to embarrass the governor if we approve the report, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to start by saying that even in the worst case scenario that this House adopts or approves this report, that does not in any way bar the governor from appointing or nominating another lady, starting from my friend, the beautiful lady, who is Mickey. She's qualified just like the youth leader is qualified, just like the other lady in this House is qualified. So I don't think by approving this report, Mr. Speaker, we are going to gag the governor or we are going to be against women in this county. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, if you read the report and you look at the attached documents of one Dr. Joyce, you will quickly give her this lady this job without even mincing word. But if you go deep into reading the answered report, Mr. Speaker, you don't even know where to place this lady. In this country, as an experience whereby one person holds 3 names depending on where they are suitable. So maybe this is one of such cases, Mr. Speaker. Because you can't understand when a PhD, in the event that a PhD holder can not demonstrate knowledge of the difference between a sub-county and a ward. And this is where it's going. Even if it's a policy issue, Mr. Speaker, where are you going to formulate those policies if you don't know the boundaries of the areas that you are going to work on, Mr. Speaker? And therefore, Mr. Speaker, this lady is bright according to the papers. This lady is qualified according to the papers. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind this House that the makers of the Constitution of this country 2010 knew very well that, or thought it wise, that the opinion of one institution or one individual is not good enough to do the due diligence in terms of getting the right person to perform in a particular office. That is why there are many institutions to provide as checks, if not accompanied by balances, Mr. Speaker. That's why the governor is required by the law to nominate a person and subject it to this assembly for further scrutiny and vetting so that that person gets an opportunity to come and match the papers presented with the ideas in somebody's head, Mr. Speaker. Papers, we have history where papers can be picked even in the streets of Nyamakima in Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. I'm not saying hers is one of the Nyamakima papers. But the reason why we are presenting somebody before this House is so that somebody come here and demonstrate what is presented in the papers, if it is equal to what is somebody is presenting from the mind, Mr. Speaker. That is not presented in this report if you go by the answer and of the committee, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to conclude by saying that I don't know how it will take, how this House will be taken if this nominee is approved, Mr. Speaker, because the precedence has already been set in the vetting of one Mr. Frederick Mwaura. Is it? Let me get the name right. Sorry. The previous guy who was just been was called Frederick Ochieng Mariwa. Frederick Ochieng Mariwa scored 58.8%. Today, if the House happened to approve one Dr. Joyce with 51.1%, where will the justice there? How will you convince the world that we have approved somebody with 51.1% and we left out the person with 58.8%? So, Mr. Speaker, with all fairness and with all factors, Mr. Speaker, I don't think, going by the report of this committee, the lady Dr. Joyce deserves to get this job. And therefore, I support this report, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support the report. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, I want to call a remover to reply.
Honorable Ann, when you have contributed, you cannot call the mover to reply. So when you want to call the mover, you only stand and call the mover to reply. What is it, Honorable Emily? Oh, you went down, Honorable Abed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to add my 2 cents. I think, first of all, I support the report, and I also want to speak about the issue of academic papers and the issue of gender. I think it would be unfair to women folk to give a woman who is undeserving a job simply because she's a woman. We are in the era of supporting women, but that does not take from the fact that we have numerous women who qualify for this kind of job. Second, I want to say that you may have academic papers, some of them come from River Road, but the reason why we are told that when you say I qualify because I have a master's or a PhD, they still require you to come in person and do an interview and engage you in person is because they want to see if your intellect tallies with the papers that you carry. So somebody having academic papers that look good and does not tally with the interview, I think it's conflict of interest in my humble opinion, and I support the report.
Honorable Emily.
Mr. Speaker, going by the mood of the House, may I please call the remover to apply?
Can you say the right thing?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to call the mover to reply.
Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, because of the time, I will merge these issues. First, I want to thank the members that have contributed, and I think it was, let me start with Honorable Nditi. Honorable Nditi, we are not divided in this House. Today's debate is between the general oversight of honorable members and the ad hoc committee led by Honorable Kadalim. Honorable Speaker, I want to remind the members that if someone had papers, then the governor would have just appointed him or her direct and to the job. There is a reason why we are in this House. First, as a House, we have to look at, did the governor correctly nominate the member to this House? Yes, that was done properly. The nomination was done according to the law. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I want to say that having good papers, well-decorated papers, I think the papers should also reflect what you are presenting as a person before the committee. And this one did not happen. And I was wondering, and Honorable, my friend, my neighbor, Honorable Peter Wick, rejecting this report. And nominee confirming that it is Honorable Petro Iko, one of the people living in Kabonyo Kanyagwal, as the cause of floods in Kabonyo Kanyagwal. It is very unfortunate. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Seto Kumu summed it all. I also watched it and I got surprised when the nominee was asked a very simple question. This is someone who has done masters, has done PhD in disaster management, and asked the causes of pollution in Lake Victoria. And she said one of them is cages. That when she becomes a CEC, she will destroy all the cages in Lake Victoria surely. That is pure lack of knowledge in that department. Honorable Diary complained about the nominee being asked questions of a fellow teacher where she taught as a teacher in Kisumu Day. There's nothing wrong when one day you appear for an interview somewhere and you are asked, and then you mention that you are in the third assembly. It is not wrong to be asked who was your speaker. It is just to confirm that were you really there. So that was a general question to the nominee. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Gadaling Lema said that the CC is just a policy maker. How can you be a policy maker at the top of a department and you have no administrative knowledge in that department? So I want to agree with the honorable members that have supported this report. This report was done fairly. And I also want to appreciate Honorable Miki looking at the qualification, but I want to confirm that even as it stands now, our cabinet is gender balanced as it is now. Whether the nominee that will come is a man, our cabinet is gender balanced. I think we are aware of that. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to dwell much because we have another report, but I want to thank all the members and Honorable Speaker, today you can see we are almost full house. There are members that do not even sit here for 10 minutes, but you can see now they are trying to justify that we really tried our best. But we could not get the numbers. I want to urge the honorable members that we approve this report the way it is. And Honorable Speaker, I don't want to take much time. I do reply. Thank you.
Honorable members, I think that was the best debate. And the motion adoption of report of appointment committee on the suitability of Dr. Joyce Okayo for the appointment to the position of County Executive Committee member, Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change have been moved, debated, after being seconded. And as per our standing orders, now I want to put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion of appointments committee on the suitability of Dr. Joyce Okayo for the appointment to the position of County Executive Committee member for Water, Environment, and Natural Resources and Climate Change be adopted. Say aye.
Aye.
You say nay.
Nay.
And the report, the ayes have it, and the report of the motion adoption of the report on the appointment of the appointment committee on the suitability of Dr. Joyce Okayo for the appointment to the position of CC member for Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change have been adopted today, Thursday, the 19th of September 2024 at 16:54 hours. And by the adoption, it means her nomination has been rejected. And I direct that the Hansard report to be prepared for onward submission to the governor for him to prepare and nominate another candidate for the said position. Next order.
Order number 9. Motion that this House adopts the report of the Appointments Committee on the suitability of Dr. Rose Olayo, nominee for appointment to the City Board by the Honorable Leader of Majority.
The Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to move a motion of the report of the suitability of Dr. Rose Olayo, nominee for appointment to the City Board. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, pursuant to the provisions of Article 184 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Section 13, Part 4 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, Section 11(1), Part 1 of the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019, and Section 6 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approvals Act 2017, read together with the Standing Orders number 187 of the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders. His Excellency, the Governor submitted to the County Assembly the Dr. Rose Olaya for vetting and approval for appointment to the City Board.
Order members.
The nomination
the members who are consulting, please, you can consult in Lawton.
Thank you.
Allow the leader majority to move the motion.
The nomination was conveyed to the Speaker of the County Assembly through the letter reference CGK/ADM/20/Volume 2/182 dated 28th August 2024. The nominee's CV and testimonials were enclosed in the letter and were forwarded to the Committee on Appointments pursuant to Standing Orders number 187. Consequently, on the 4th September 2024, pursuant to Section 13, Part 2 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, read together with Section 6 and 7 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approvals Act 2017, the Leader of Majority tabled the name of the nominee on the floor of the House for approval. The nomination was procedurally committed to the Committee on Appointments for vetting and reporting to the House within 21 days in accordance with Section 6, Part 7 of the Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act 2017 and Standing Order number 187. Pursuant to Section 7, Part 4 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, the Clerk of the County Assembly placed an advertisement in the print media on 5th September 2024, notifying the nominee of the time and place of the approval hearing, and invited the public to submit memoranda by way of written statements on oath on the suitability or otherwise of each of the nominee in accordance with the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act 2017, Annex 4. The advertisement indicated that the submissions were to be received on or before 12th September 2024 at 4 p.m. By close of the submission deadline, the committee had not received any memorandum on the suitability of the nominee for appointment. Further, in fulfillment of the provisions of Article 184 of the Constitution 2010, Section 13(4) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, Sections 11(1) of the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019, and Section 87 of the County Governments Act 2012, read together with Section 7, Part 5 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approval Act 2012, and Standing Order number 187, the Clerk of the County Assembly on 5th September 2024 notified the public through the print media that the Committee on Appointments would conduct the approval hearing on 12th September 2024 at the County Assembly's chambers. The nominee appeared before the committee as scheduled for the approval hearing in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011 and its amendment of 2019, the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approvals Act 2017, and the County Assembly Standing Orders on suitability or otherwise for appointments to the position of the members of the City Board. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, these are the observations that were made during the interview on the suitability of the nominee by the Appointments Committee. The committee, having considered the nominee's field questionnaire pursuant to Section 8 of the Public Appointments County Assembly Approval Act 2017, has having had oral submissions during the approval hearing, made the following observations on the suitability for appointment as a member of the Board of Kisumu City. That in accordance with Article 78(1) and 2 of the Constitution, the nominee is a Kenyan citizen born in Siaya County and does not hold dual citizenship. That in accordance with the requirements set out in Section 9(5)(a) of the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019, the nominee is a holder of a first degree of Bachelor's of Science in Health Promotion from the Great Lakes University, a recognized university in Kenya. Academic credentials, professional training, and experience that comply with Section 9(5)(a) of the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019 and Section 8(c) of the Public Appointments County Assembly Approvals Act 2017. That he meets the requirements of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on Leadership and Integrity, having observed that the DCI, KRA, HELB, and EACC had issued the nominee with clearance certificates, that the nominee has not been charged in a court of law in the last 3 years, that as stipulated in Article 75(1) of the Constitution, the nominee has no potential conflict of interest, that the nominee satisfies the requirements of Article 77, Part 1 of the Constitution, in that she does not intend to participate in any other gainful employment, that the nominee does not hold office in any political party and hence satisfies the provisions of Article 77(2) of the Constitution, that he has never been dismissed from office under Article 75 of the Constitution for contravention of the provisions of Article 75(1), conflict of interest, Article 76, financial probity, Article 77, restriction on activities of state officers, and Article 78(2), dual citizenship of the Constitution, and is therefore fit to hold office as member of the city board. That the nominee had the requisite abilities and professional experience to be approved for appointment as a member of the city board in accordance with Section 13(4) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011 and Section 11(1) of the Urban Areas and Cities Amendment Act 2019. That the nominee was awarded a score of 72.33%, as seen in the score sheet by the committee's panelists, being above the set pass mark of 60% as indicated in the score sheet analysis below. Honorable Speaker and other members, having conducted the approval hearing of the nominee pursuant to Article 184 of the Constitution, Section 4 and Section 8 of the Public Appointments County Assemblies Approvals Act 2017, and Standing Order number 187 of the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders, the committee recommends that this Honorable House approves Dr. Joyce Okayo for appointment as member of the City Board. Honorable Speaker and other members, on behalf of the Committee on Appointments and pursuant to Article 184 of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010 and Section 13 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, and Section 9 of the Public Appointments and County Assemblies Act, 2017, read with the Standing Orders number 187 of the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders. It's now my duty and privilege to present to this House the report of the Committee on Appointments on the approval hearing of the nominee for appointment as member of the City Board, and I would like to ask Honorable Nerea Okombo to second. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that the report or the motion adoption of the report of the appointment committee on the suitability of Dr. Rose Olayo, nominee for appointment to the city board, have been moved, seconded. I have the privilege of proposing a question, and I propose that the motion is open for debate. Honorable Sami Onyango, Railways Board.
Mr. Speaker, may I call the mood or reply?
I want to take that one as an abuse of an opportunity, so the motion remains open. Seth Kanga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second. I rise to debate on the report of the suitability of Dr. Royce Olayo. Mr. Speaker, based on a few remarks. Mr. Speaker, you are aware when you presided over the sitting of this House when we were debating the nominees of the City Board. Mr. Speaker, a question arose whether we were passing the list or the names taken into consideration the two-third gender issue. And Mr. Speaker, that issue is addressed in the nomination of Dr. Rose Olayo, whom I believe, going by the testimonials on and how we interviewed her, she meets the qualification. And that meets the gender issue which arose on that day, Mr. Speaker. As you are aware that the members of the city board whom we vetted and approved in this house, they have not taken office. They have not been put on oath of office. So when this house approves the nomination of Dr. Rose Olayo, Mr. Speaker, I believe he was the question which was raised in this honorable house. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I rest my case, but I support the suitability of Dr. Joyce Olayo. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tom Onditi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also like to support the report on the approval of Dr. Joyce Olayo. Rose Olayo, so to speak. Rose, yes. Mr. Speaker, going by the content of the report, and I also got a chance to listen to follow the proceedings and look at some of the videos, Mr. Speaker. The lady demonstrated ability of self-confidence and somebody who has the ability to express herself, demonstrating the knowledge of the job and herself, Mr. Speaker. Apart from the qualifications in the CV and the academic documents, Mr. Speaker. Again, Mr. Speaker, I don't think that the entire committee would be people of sound mind to award her a score of 72%. That, Mr. Speaker, is a demonstration that the committee themselves were also satisfied by the responses from the nominee, Mr. Speaker. With those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Honorable Seth.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to also rise to support the report by the Committee on Appointment for the nomination of Rose Olayo to the City Board. Honorable Speaker, I think this is the time that the members who are advocating for women should rise up, because we have a woman here who is qualified, has demonstrated her qualifications, and her papers matches what she was speaking when she was before the committee. You can see now most of them, if not all, are not here, showing that the interest was not on women but on something else, because the committee has immediately brought a woman to serve in the city board. You know, there are very few cities, Honorable Speaker, in this country. We only have Mombasa, Kisumu, and Nairobi. We have given somebody a chance to work as a member of the city board, and we have given a woman who deserves with what she did in school and meets all the qualifications as stated in our statutes. Madam Speaker, I was so amazed on how Rose Olayo was handling the questions that she was asked before the board. And of interest to me is how she knows what ails the people of Kisumu County in terms of the development of the city and what needs to be done to address those issues. So, Honorable Speaker, we are not just bringing a person to fill in the board, we are bringing somebody who is going to bring a lot of input to the people of Kisumu in serving as a board member of the Kisumu City Board. And also to meet the third gender rule, I think this is the right person that we can give the governor to nominate for this position. Otherwise, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I support this report.
James Omolo.
Mr. Speaker, watching the mood of the House, I call the mood to reply. Thank you.
I saw Honorable Par on her feet. I hope I've not cut you. Oh, you wanted to call? Okay, proceed, Honorable Leader Majority.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think this is a nomination that has been agreed by almost all the members because Dr. Rose Olayo did well in her interview. And I also want to confirm that the process of nominating Rose Olayo to this house was properly done. And the lady also demonstrated her ability and knowledge about Urban Areas and Cities Act, about Kisumu City, the problems we have in this city, the challenges, and how to address them. And Honorable Speaker, will not take much time because this is a lady that I think impressed the panelists, and we just need to give her an opportunity to go and serve in the City Board of Kisumu. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I reply.
Honorable members, now that the motion adoption of the report of the appointment committee on the suitability of Dr. Rose Olayo, nominee for appointment to the City Board, have been moved. Honorable Nyauka, you can move to the nearest seat. The motion has been moved, seconded, and debated. The reply made. As per our standing orders, now I want to put a question. And I go ahead and put that as many of the opinion that the motion adoption of the report of the appointment committee on the suitability of Dr. Rose Olayo as the nominee for appointment to the City Board be adopted, say aye. As many of the contrary opinions say nay, the ayes have it. And the motion adoption of the report of the appointment committee on the suitability of the Dr. Rose Olayo, as nominee for the appointment to the City Board, that is Kisumu City Board, have been approved today, Thursday, the 19th of September 2024 at 17:12 hours. And I direct that the answered report be prepared for onward submission to the governor for purposes of now appointing Dr. Rose Olayo as a member of Kisumu County City Board. Next order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. There's no any other further business to transact in the order paper.
Honorable members, we can be upstanding. There being no any other business in the order paper, the House stands adjourned until Tuesday, the 24th of September 2024 at 2:30 p.m.